Okay, I'm trying to keep in my memory banks like 3 choice little pieces of imagery she just offered us. I like the alliteration of carrion crickets and the thought of starfish fucking. and definitely the little twist on menage a un. That was nice. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. And I also want to thank Ariel Stevenson over here, DJ Ariel. She has a show on Monday nights on WMNF. I never get a chance to give you props, and I want to remember to do that. She was on our inaugural story time, the Valentine's night. And her piece was so funny, and I hope she can do it again. She's a really great writer. She writes for us regularly at Creative Living, and I really appreciate her. Thank you, Ariel. Also, I'm really thankful that a good friend of mine, Kelly Benjamin, is here tonight, and who's next? I don't know, where are your friends, Kelly? You didn't bring anybody. We need to get more people in here. But Kelly, I've known for a long time, and I first heard about him when he had a pirate radio station, 87X, right? 95 to 98. I started working at Weekly Planet around 97, I think. And I guess he created, he made so many waves that they actually changed the laws around low frequency broadcasting, I guess, is that how you say it? And so he's always been a fly in the ointment of the status quo, and I love him for that. And he's run for city council. He's always stood up for the underdog, and he's stood up for the environment, and he's stood up for, you know, fairness and civil rights, and he's like challenging Mayor Buckhorn to, you know, to stop these clean zones with the RNC, and, you know, make sure that people have the right to protest, because that's, we're in America. So Kelly is always on top of things, and I love him for that. And I'm really grateful that he's here tonight to tell us one of his great stories. And somehow he's going to relate to poetry. I don't know how, but I'm really curious. So here comes Kelly Benjamin. Thank you.
When Julie asked me to come out here, I heard it was story time, and I know a bunch of good stories, but I didn't quite get the connection with poetry quite a bit. The last time I read poetry, I read any poem, or actually heard poetry in Ybor City was back when the Three Birds bookstore was around. Does anybody remember that place? Yeah. That place was great, and that seems like a long time ago now. Yeah. So, but if someone asked me to tell a story, this story I always feel, because it freaked me the fuck out, so I want to tell other people so they get freaked out too, because it's a crazy story, and it's a true story, and it happened just a couple years ago, recently, and I tried to tell the story to the press, and for one reason or another, I'm not sure why they don't want to talk about it. But the reason that I thought it might be a connection here was that, has anyone ever read any Phillip K? One person? Yeah. He's not really famous for poetry, I think. But he's dead now, but he was a meth head, and he wrote a lot of crazy, he wrote sometimes 3 or 4 novels a month. But before he got famous, some of his books have been turned into movies like Blade Runner, Total Recall, things of that nature. All of his books had this real crazy, paranoid, tripping theme to them, where he was always questioning what reality was and what it wasn't, disillusionment, time travel, alternative realities, and so. And I had a youth spent tripping on acid and running from the cops, and that's the sort of thing I can relate to that sort of thing. And so one of the lines in one of his poems that he had written was, "Strange how paranoia can link up with reality now and then." And I had always been real skeptical of some of the means in which dissent was crushed in the United States. And shortly after getting arrested at the Republican Convention last time around, which was in 2008 in St. Paul, Minnesota, I got back to Tampa, and I was coming home from work and I got this note on my door from this, it was a special agent, which I was already skeptical of a little bit because they had raided my house just a few years before when I ran the station. Same people, but it just said, hey, call me for a cup of coffee sometime. And the long and the short of it was they were looking for somebody to recruit, to be a spy, to go out and spy on other activists, to go out and keep tabs on people. And I know for some reason I only got 5 minutes, other people got 10. But I'm going to tell, instead of going too deep into the story, I just want to read to you a letter that I wrote back to the guy. After he met me for coffee and we had this long conversation about whether or not I would like to spy for my government, he painted it as a real patriotic thing to do. That it was important for us to keep tabs on radicals and anarchists because they could be causing trouble. In a place like Tampa, for instance, my hometown where the RNC is going to be soon. And the long and short of it, they gave me a code name, they gave me money, they wanted me to do all this crazy stuff, and then I called the National Lawyers Guild and told them all about it. They have something called the Green Scare Hotline that they set up for instances just like this. And then they came over my house, and it was a very strange time. These guys are very they're very skilled in psychological warfare in the way they go about, they go through a manual. Oh, do you like sports? And then, yeah, I like baseball. And the next thing I know, they took me to a baseball game. And it was all you can eat, all you can drink, and they were whining and dining me. And I imagine there's a lot of people that this happens to, around the country who are involved with this kind of thing. So anyway, I wrote this letter to the guy, and I'll just read a little bit of it. Dear FBI guy, I'm afraid to write your name because I don't want to go to jail for outing a special secret agent and jeopardizing all the important spy shit that you do. And also, I'm sort of scared you might come to my house and kill me when I'm sleeping because after all, you said you work above the law, and we all know what that means. But just so you know, I'm talking about you, if you happen to be here tonight in the audience, listening with your crew cut and humorless look on your face and that black Ray-Bans hiding your unibrow, I know that you have a dog named Ronald Reagan, a Sheltie, and that you turned in your resume on red, white, and blue watermark paper. It's true. I looked them up, I Googled them. But I'm not sure if any of this differentiates him from any other FBI agents out there. They might all do that. Anyway, I want to thank you for the opportunity that you provided me to serve my country by becoming a genuine secret agent. I was always into James Bond, Cloak and Dagger shit. It's awesome. I'm humbled that out of all the eligible broke stoners out there who get arrested for hanging out at protests, of which there's actually quite a few of them out there, as you know, you chose me to have the honor of spying on my fellow freedom-loving Americans in order to keep them safe. So I want to thank you for the awesome seats at the Rays game, and for all those beers you bought me while I filled you with all the tall tales about all the things I would go out and spy on for you. From the G8 summits, to eco-terrorist attacks, mountaintop removal, to the Republican National Convention right here in my hometown. I never knew you were taking me seriously. After all, your whole premise seemed like a total joke. Keep tabs on unsuspecting peaceful college kids who are smoking pot or aging hippies who are doing little more than practicing their First Amendment rights. Collect their names and addresses and find out where the money's coming from, their tag numbers. And you wanted to pay me a bunch of money for this, and they were talking money. So I'm sorry I disappointed you and your G-Man buddies. But you guys spooked the fuck out of me with your secret code names and psychological warfare techniques. And please send me my FOIA request. Thanks.